Smart drivers are buying 20-year-old trucks. Imagine spending $80,000 on a brand new pickup, only to have it sit at the dealership for weeks because a single exhaust sensor locked your transmission. While most people chase that new truck smell, the smartest buyers are hunting for 20-year-old machines. I've been a mechanic for 23 years, and I can tell you, modern trucks are a financial trap. Trucks from the early 2000s like the Silverado, F-150, and Ram hit a mechanical sweet spot before being choked by fragile software locks. Today, I'll show you why a 2004 model is a better tool and a better investment. But pay close attention. If you miss one specific mechanical death sign during your inspection, your smart investment becomes a $10,000 pile of scrap metal. I'll show you exactly what to look for. The peak of simplicity. The primary driver behind this trend is the perfect balance of technology. By the early 2000s, manufacturers had perfected the basics. We had reliable electronic fuel injection and transmissions that could actually handle a trailer. But crucially, we hadn't yet introduced the fragile layers of integrated electronics. In my shop, I see it every day. In a 20-year-old Silverado, if a window motor fails, it's a simple, isolated fix. You spend $40, you bolt it in, and the job is done. There are no complex network architectures requiring a master computer reset just because you replaced a basic switch in the cabin. You also often got physical throttle cables and manual 4x4 transfer cases with an actual floor shifter, rather than an electronic dial that relies on a fragile plastic actuator. But in a modern truck, almost every component is serialized to the VIN. Replacing a simple module often requires dealer-level software programming just to tell the vehicle's central computer that a new part has been installed. This software-locked hardware is why smart drivers are looking backward. They want to own their vehicle, not just license the right to keep it running. But simplicity is only half the story. The real silent killer of the modern truck owner isn't a broken sensor. It's a math equation that is eating your net worth while you sleep. Escaping depreciation. Every brand new truck carries a massive hidden cost known as rapid depreciation. A luxury F-150 or a Ram Laramie can lose 30 to 40% of its total value in just the first 3 years. If you paid $80,000, you just burned $32,000 for the privilege of being the first person to sit in the seat. A 20-year-old truck has already finished its depreciation curve. The market for a clean 2003 Silverado or a first-gen Toyota Tundra has stabilized. For well-maintained examples, prices are actually starting to rise. Plus, without a massive bank lien against the title, your insurance premiums drop dramatically, and yearly registration fees cost a fraction of what a heavy new model demands. Instead of strapping yourself to a 7-year loan at high interest, you own an asset outright from day one. That's thousands of dollars in interest alone that stays in your bank account. By purchasing a clean, bottomed-out asset today, you're essentially parking your money. If you maintain the vehicle properly, it will likely be worth exactly what you paid for it 3 to 5 years down the road. For the savvy owner, this means the effective cost of ownership is limited strictly to fuel, insurance, and maintenance. Now, some people argue that older trucks are money pits because things break. But as a mechanic, I can tell you that the cost of fixing an old truck is a joke compared to the cost of maintaining a new one. Known reliability. When a vehicle platform has been on the road for 2 decades, there are no mechanical secrets left. We have the data of millions of owners and billions of miles. You aren't guessing about the longevity of a new, tiny displacement engine with twin turbochargers. Take the GMLS-based engines, or the Ford 7.3 Power Stroke. We know their failure points. We know that if you replace a specific plastic coolant connector or a certain solenoid, that engine will comfortably go another 100,000 miles. If you encounter a weird idle or a strange shift, 10,000 people on a forum have already diagnosed it and posted a step-by-step video on how to fix it in your driveway. In fact, for many of these older platforms, the aftermarket has fully engineered the original factory flaws out of existence. Once you install the upgraded aftermarket part, the issue is permanently solved. This massive existing fleet also ensures that parts remain cheap and plentiful. Because millions of these units are in active service, companies continue to produce high-quality replacement parts. You can walk into any parts store in the country and find what you need on the shelf. No back-ordered microchips from overseas. No waiting 6 weeks for a proprietary wiring harness. But it's not just about repairability, it's about the raw physical materials. They truly don't build them like they used to, down to the thickness of the steel. Mechanical over-engineering. This was a time when manufacturers competed on physical strength, not the size of a touchscreen. In the early 2000s, we saw the peak of iron block durability. These engines were over-engineered for their power output, meaning they were never stressed to their limit. They used simple timing chains that lasted the life of the vehicle and cooling systems designed with massive safety margins for heavy towing without fragile electronic bypass valves. We are talking about solid cast iron control arms and oversized transmission coolers bolted on at the factory, strictly designed to pull heavy loads day in and day out. These older, heavy-duty transmissions didn't constantly hunt for the right gear like modern automated 10-speeds. They just locked in securely and went to work. Modern designs are forced to focus on weight reduction to meet fuel standards. This leads to thinner frame rails and tighter tolerances that make the vehicle less resilient to real-world neglect. A late oil change on a 2002 Ram might not kill it, but on a 2024 model, complex variable valve timing, it could be a death sentence. The advantages are clear, but how do you actually find one of these Goldilocks trucks without buying a nightmare? The reality of buying old. Buying a 20-year-old truck requires a disciplined approach. First, the framework. As I mentioned earlier, there is one specific death sign. I've seen guys spend thousands rebuilding an engine, only to realize the truck is worthless because of the scaly death. Get underneath the vehicle with a screwdriver. You're looking for structural rust on the frame rails, especially near the rear leaf spring shackles. If the metal is flaking off in layers like a croissant, walk away. Structural rot is a permanent and fatal flaw. Second, the rubber and plastic tax. After 20 years, rubber becomes brittle. Budget $2,000 immediately for a fresh start service. This means replacing every single fluid, oil, transmission, transfer case, differentials, and coolant. It means new serpentine belts and radiator hoses. This also includes swapping out dried-up suspension bushings that cause a sloppy ride, instantly restoring the tight steering feel the truck had when it left the factory. You are resetting the mechanical clock. Once this is done, you aren't driving an old truck. You're driving a refreshed machine that you can trust. Finally, accept the trade-off. These older models lack side curtain airbags and adaptive cruise control. When you buy a 20-year-old truck, you're making a conscious choice to prioritize absolute mechanical simplicity and financial freedom over modern safety innovations.